Okay, everybody, it's 5:30. We're going to go ahead and get started and call the meeting to order. Roll call. At-large Cummins.
Here.
At-large Poston.
Here.
Ward 1 Welker. Ward 2 Helm.
Here.
Ward 3 Johnston.
Here.
Okay, let's stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. So next item is approval of the agenda. Are any additions or changes needed necessary for this agenda? No.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion by Cummins, seconded by Helm.
Johnston,
Yes.
Cummins,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Helm.
Yes.
Okay, next item is public hearing. This public hearing is regarding the City of Tipton's proposed property tax levy for fiscal year 25 budget. The motion to open the public hearing?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Johnston, seconded by Poston.
Welker, or Cummins,
Yes.
Poston,
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Okay, I'll go ahead and start. As of the close of business today, we have not had any public comments about this. I do see some people in the audience though, so I'll go ahead and explain the tax hearing that you had and see if that answers some of your questions, and then open it up to you. So you received a letter from the auditor that had our city proposed property tax levy. In there, it is a bit deceiving because on the bottom of that, you probably saw a negative 17.88%. But that percentage is not accurate because that is that's a number that is required by the legislation and statutorily required because it is based solely off of a $100,000 property tax value. So it does not factor into the rollback drop. It doesn't factor into increased valuations of the properties. So it's simply just $100,000, which we know the City of Tipton, all their houses are not $100,000. So it's giving a false perception that there should be a decrease of 17.88% in your taxes. And that will be something that will be consistent because it is the statutorily required, that number doesn't change. So in actuality, we took what we had for property tax last year to what we have this year, and we had a 5.76 growth in taxes. But the city tax rate went down from 16.89 to 16.35. So still based off of, you see on that bottom, the city regular commercial, it shows that last year that tax rate would have been $923 on an assessed value of $100,000 home. This year, that same rate would be $758. So it would be a deficit with that same tax rate. So it is kind of deceiving how you receive that in the mail, but that is because the legislation, how it was written, was based off of that set number. So it's hard to interpret that for each home in Tipton. Does that help answer some of the questions I was hearing?
What was it? 900 what?
$923 is what the example they had on here. $923 to $758, but that's just based off of a home that's assessed at $100,000.
Right.
So that would be different for each home based off of their assessed value. So really, we did have a growth of 5.76 in taxes, but the total levy rate has gone down.
You have in front of you the total assessed value of the property in Tipton, residential and commercial, and how much that increased from the previous year?
No.
You don't have that
I don't
information with you?
have that information here.
So
I can absolutely get that to you if you want to email me that question, or I can write it down and I can get you a response, but I don't have that information.
I'll check with you later.
Sure.
So you're saying the 758 is incorrect?
17.88% is
Incorrect.
it's not a clear perception because it's based off of $100,000. And
Well-
that's maybe someone's home, but that's not everyone's home, and not everyone home in Tipton is based off of that. And it doesn't account for the rollback, which went down. And it doesn't account for increased property valuations. It's just a set formula that they put into the law.
Well-
So it's a hard, and they couldn't calculate it because every situation is different. So,
So basically, bottom line is, I'm looking at your budget
Mhm.
hearing thing that was in the paper, or levy hearing.
Yep.
So this 2023, 2024, you took levied for 20,311,000. 24, 25, you're levying for 22,096,000. That's an increase of what, about 1,700,000, 700,000, something like that. You're actually levying that for an increase of 1,600,000 on property in Tipton.
what line are you referring to?
Well, I'm looking at your
I know, so my.
top
what-
line, very top line. Taxable valuation for non-debt service.
Mhm.
So it's increasing by, what is that number, 1,600,000, 1,700,000, something like that.
I'm not seeing the 20 million that you're referring to.
Really? So I took this out of this week paper that you printed in the paper. This was printed under the, right here.
Can I see it?
Oh crap. I got the wrong,
Wrong line.
sorry, I'm reading the wrong one.
Thank you.
There we go. Okay, now I'm looking, I think the right one. Let me make sure. Unfortunately, I didn't cut this one out. I brought it
No,
up.
I,
Okay, let's go to this. So 23, 24 is 116,991, correct?
I like that number better.
And then the budget year for this coming year is 127 million, which is an increase of 11 million.
Correct.
And even though the levy did what? Went down?
Our levy did go down because we are also, they had the cap. So we
Okay,
were capped at that.
yeah, you're capped.
Yep.
So even though levy went down, you're actually going to take in more money even with the cap.
Yes, but that's also because they consolidated the levies. Like the emergency levy used to be a separate levy outside of
Oh,
itself,
okay.
and that's been rolled into it. So it did bring that
Okay,
into that funding.
okay. So that would increase for
Correct. Yep.
cause.
It to
Print
increase as
some
well.
of that increase. Okay.
Yep.
How much is the levy then?
The levy, so
On-
this year's is 16.89237. Next year's it's proposed 16.36581. So it's a decrease,
Is that $16?
$16 per $1,000.
That's partially why I was curious about the assessed valuation for property in Tipton. Because I got a notice today that my property is going up 24% assessed valuation. And so I'm kind of, if
We know you don't.
mine's, for some strange reason, I didn't add any structures or anything to it.
Yeah.
In 1 year, it went up 24%, the assessed value.
Right.
If the assessed value of anything else in Tipton went up anywhere near that, I mean, that's an enormous amount of assessed valuation that you're going to be levying against.
To a degree though, because there is the rollback. So we don't levy on 100% of that increase.
Do the rollback change?
Yeah, it went down to 46%. So it was at 50
For
million.
residential?
Yeah. So it's,
Well, see, I'm not worried, right now, I'm not talking about tax, I'm just talking about the assessed value, which really to me seems like a little bit out of line, but I'll have to argue with the assessor on that.
Yes.
I
Yes.
can't tell you that, complain to you, except I can complain to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
I was gonna say,
It's just, when you
I've heard
see that big of a
it's
hit,
not
the
done.
realization is setting
Sure.
in.
the
Yep.
assessments, I've heard they're still gonna keep crawling up. They're not done yet.
Is there a rollback on commercial or
It is, but it's not the 46.
how much is that?
80. They just changed.
I'm just trying to determine how much you gotta raise the rent on people because my taxes are going up.
Well,
Their
and
taxes,
also-
their rent has to go up.
When you get your tax statement, that's not, that's proper, that's schools and county.
Mhm.
It's not just the cities.
Yeah.
So it's 90% for business property.
How much?
90.
They roll it back 90%.
After the first 150,000. So the first 150,000 of your property valuation is removed, and then it's taxed at the 90%.
Oh,
Oh, tax at.
So it's rolled back
So it's rolled back 10%. I think did they up that 100 from 100 to 150, do you know?
I believe it's been 150, but no, yeah, that just changed to 150 in the House File 718. So that was one of the changes.
Pass
There's
that
lots of
along.
changes in that. You have any other questions or concerns, thoughts, anyone?
well, I know this is a hearing on the levy. But will there be a separate budget hearing
There will, on April
on the
22nd.
overall? What date?
April 22nd.
Okay.
So at the next meeting, we're going to have at 5:45. That's when we will set the public hearing.
And that'll be probably in a paper coming out
It will,
soon,
Wednesday.
Wednesday. All right, sounds good.
And each part of, what is your budget? 2 million, 3 million, 4 million? What is Tipton run on?
Like a total overall budget,
I'm just wondering if it'll be itemized.
24 million. So it is, when you see that budget statement in the paper though, it is a very high level budget rolled up with all our departments, all our expenses. So you're not gonna be able to see any of the details in that.
But I might on April 22nd.
On April 22nd, also it is the high level version, but you're welcome to email and call me if you have questions about the budget. We can go over that because the details won't be in that. I mean, they're in there, but it's not, we're not going to go line by line through that unless the council wishes to do that, which.
Department by department.
So, yep,
Why?
department by department won't be in here. When the state form comes out, it doesn't break it down by department specifically. Our
But you could
financial
on April
software has
22nd.
a financial or department breakdown, which is over 100 pages. So that's where
Oh.
we could absolutely go through that. Or if you have specific questions for departments, I can
I just
answer
like
those.
transparency.
Yeah, no, it's all broken down. We had a budget workshop in February that we did go department by department and talked about concerns, and that is open to the public.
Another question on, go down the listing there to city regular property tax.
Mhm.
Make sure I'm in the right city. I am. 2 million, you had 2 million and one, just over 2 million.
Mhm.
And that's the same this coming year as it was last year. What, it says city regular total property tax. Is that, what is that? What does that mean?
That is
City
our-
regular total property tax.
That's our
City
tax.
buildings?
That's our tax that we bring in, that we're able, that 810 levy, that's that general levy number.
That's a base levy?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's the base.
That's
levy.
the base, the 810 levy.
And
That's,
then you levy above that.
we were able to levy above that 810 this year because of that House File 718. But then they still ratcheted us down our growth because of House File 718. So we had more growth than what we were given. That's also when they took away some of those levies and combined them into that regular levy now. So that emergency levy is gone and it is all combined into that general levy. Anything else?
I know we got a ball game to watch, so I'll let you guys. I'm not gonna say.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No, and there was anybody online, so. Okay. Motion to close the public hearing?
Motion. Second.
Motion Motion by Poston, seconded by Helm.
Welker,
Yes.
Cummins.
Yes.
Poston.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Okay, that's the last thing on this meeting agenda, so motion for adjournment.
Second.
Motion by Poston, seconded by Helm.
Cummins.
Yes.
Poston.
Yes.
Helm,
Yes.
Johnston.
Yes.
Welker.
Yes.
Okay, meeting adjourned.